Welcome to the Art Lady's Kitchen. I am just about to put my casserole together, and so I'm going to show you one of my family's favorite weekday meals, and it's just quick and easy. You basically have a lot of pre-done, pre-canned things, and you're going to put some fresh vegetables in it and have your tamales. You can also do this with chimichangas on top. Even burritos would work well. Normally I do the chimichanga. Today I have tamales. So I'll show you that variation. You do have to deal with that that skin that's wrapped around it that you don't eat, but I'll show you that as we do the process. So the first thing I want to do is I want to prepare my vegetables, wash them up nice, and then I'm going to be putting them in quite a large casserole dish. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and then I'll show you how I layer everything together. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom. Now I'm taking a cup of the water, and on the package for my rice and beans it says to use 3 cups of water. So I'm going to keep the same amount of liquid I have, and I'm going to go ahead and just pre-mix in one of the cups the seasoning package. And then I'm going to just put that in the bottom of my pan. Right there, just so it's mixed in through. So there's no lumps in it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the additional water in that the package calls for. And this is a beans and rice, red beans and rice from New Orleans style, so it's going to be a little spicy. Now I'm ready to dump in the rice. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And stir that around as best you can. Now the black beans, and this is my second can I'm adding. You want to rinse and drain the black beans. I want a good layer, that's why I use 2. Now we're putting in the vegetables, and they're cut up into inch or so, between a ½ inch and an inch little shapes, very small. And I cut up the green pepper real small, diced it real small. So we're adding that now. And that was about, I used the whole package of yellow squash, and I used that one really large zucchini. And so that's going in now. And I'm just layering it evenly. And this is going to cook down a lot. And I just had them soaking in the water from the rest of my water from the beans, black beans and rice. So I'm going to dump that on top. And my recipe called for 3 cups of water with the beans and rice, and so that's what I'm going to add to this casserole. The zucchinis are going to make a lot of, zucchini and yellow squash are going to also add to the liquid in here as well. So now this is ready to go in, and I'm going to cook this in the oven with my cover on. And if you have a casserole dish that doesn't have a cover, then you can go ahead and do aluminum foil so it'll cook well. I want to cook the vegetables up, and I like my vegetables a little soft. I'm going to cook them for a ½ an hour, and then I'm going to add the rest of the layers on top. But I do pre-cook these veggies because they do need a lot of time. First of all, there's a lot of veggies in here, and they're pretty thick layers, so it needs a good hour for the veggies to have that nice soft consistency. So first of all, it goes in the oven for a ½ hour, and then we do the rest of the stuff and bake it for another ½ hour. The next step, I'm going to take out the tamales, and I'm going to leave them in their little steamy wrapper, this little wrapper that it comes in. And this is going to steam them, the vegetables here. So I'm just laying them on top, and then I'll put them back in the oven. for 10 minutes and steam them this way. And if it's chimichangas you're doing, I just lay my chimichangas on top and cook them. So I'm going to put my cover back on, like so, and then cook it for 10 minutes. Now I'm taking 2 cans of refried beans, and I'm going to mix in a can of the diced tomatoes with green chilies. Now this is really spicy. If you'd rather use salsa, you can use the salsa mixed in as well. For those people that don't like real spicy things. But I'm mixing this up first. And then I'm going to put in, my son loves spicy things, so we're using spicy. And I'm going to put salsa on top of the casserole after the tamales cook. But this is for the next layer that goes on top of the squash. Right here. Now I'm just going to carefully remove the tamales and their wrappers, which makes it easy because it's in a wrapper. And then I'm going to spread the refried beans right on top of this. And my rice has cooked completely. I do have some, you can see all that steam there coming out. Woo. But there's a lot of juice, so I want that juice to escape and for this to thicken up a little bit. I'm going to put my refried bean layer down now. And I like my tamale shells not so soggy. I like them a little bit crispy. So I'm going to put this in the oven without the cover on next. And then I'll add the toppings of salsa and cheese. But first I'm going to let this crisp up a little bit, my tamales. So it'll be without the cover on next. So now I'm just carefully opening up the wrappers, like so, and I'm just kind of laying them on top so that this crisps up a little bit, because I do like this not so soggy. And I believe there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, so I think I can put it right in the middle here. So I'm going to put them right down the middle, and it'll crisp up my refried beans here too. And I have a convection oven, so that really helps. I have it on the fan setting, and it helps circulate the air. So it really helps crisp up things nicely. Okay, so that's going to go in for another 15 minutes. I just took them out of the oven about halfway through. I did flip them over so that this side would get a little crunchier too. Now I'm going to put some salsa down the top and then cover it with cheese. And then I do put a little bit of salsa on the top of this as well. Not too much, because you can always serve your salsa on the side individually. There. And now I'm going to cover it with cheese. And you can use any kind of shredded cheese. I'm using sharp cheddar, but if you have the mixtures of Mexican, or sometimes they have them in the stores, they sell a Mexican mix, which is nice. And I'm using the whole package, which is, I think it's 12 ounces here. I've got some in each. This one's a little bit extra fine, so I'm using a little bit from each. And I'm pretty much covering it with the cheese. Yeah, so it's about 12 ounces of the cheese I'm using. This is what makes it really nice on top to dig through. And I like it best when it's fresh. It doesn't seem as great reheated, but I mean, it is delicious reheated, but my favorite is when it's fresh right out of the oven, which is unusual because a lot of times these dishes, the casserole dishes, taste better, especially like lasagna, the next day. But in this case, I think it tastes better fresh right from the oven. Well, it came out of the oven and I let it set for about 15 minutes, and I just scooped off one of the tamales here. And now I'm going to go ahead and start serving what's underneath. I'm serving the beans and rice now with the vegetables right here to go on the side. There we go. And then I'm just going to scoop down and get a little bit more of that, like so. And there you have it. And now you can go ahead and serve it with any sides you'd like. Sour cream, some extra salsa on top. Guacamole's really great with this. So any of your fun sides, even some little nacho chips would go great with this. But this is your main dish, and it's just a one dish, quick and easy weekday meal. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, go ahead and leave me comments. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button.